Just when we thought we had heard it all. Just when we thought the strategies for securing this nation couldn't get any more surprising, we are waking up to a headline that has left many Nigerians scratching their heads in absolute disbelief. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu, has looked the nation in the eye, or rather, looked the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in the eye, and declared that we are prayer warriors. Yes, you heard me right. In the middle of what looks like a full-blown security crisis, with bandits running riot in the north central and terrorists making a mockery of our borders, the Commander-in-Chief is emphasizing the power of prayer and vigilance. Now, don't get me wrong, we are a religious nation. We pray when we wake up, we pray when we sleep, and we certainly pray when we get on the road because the roads are death traps. But is prayer a military strategy? Is vigilance a substitute for the Super Tucano jets and attack helicopters we were promised? This statement has sparked a firestorm of reactions, and the question on everyone's lips is simple. Is this faith or is this incompetence? Let's break down exactly what happened, because the timing of this statement is what makes it so painful. On Friday, the president hosted a delegation of the Christian Association of Nigeria led by Archbishop Daniel Oko at his residence in Lagos. It was supposed to be a festive meeting, a moment to share Christmas greetings. But the conversation, as it always does in Nigeria, turned to the elephant in the room: insecurity. President Tinubu, in his response, tried to reassure the clerics and the country. He said his administration is committed to security sector reforms. He talked about recalibration, but then he dropped the line that has gone viral. He said, and I quote, "We are very religious. We are prayer warriors. We need your focus, vigilance, and cooperation." He urged religious leaders to back the government with prayers, stressing that some security initiatives require time before yielding visible outcomes. Now, pause for a second. While the president was in the comfort of his Lagos residence talking about being prayer warriors, do you know what was happening in Kwara State? Terrorists, real flesh and blood terrorists with AK-47s, not spiritual demons, were invading the Adanla community in Igbaja Ward 2, Ifelodun local government area. This happened just a day after Christmas. While families were trying to finish their leftover jollof rice and enjoy the holiday, gunmen stormed their village at about 7 p.m. They didn't come to pray, they came to destroy. According to reports from Sahara Reporters, these attackers fired sporadically, throwing a peaceful community into panic, grief, and mourning. They abducted 7 residents. 7 human beings, citizens of this country, were dragged into the bush while the government was in Lagos talking about recalibration and prayers. If you are feeling the frustration I am feeling right now, and if you want to keep getting the unfiltered truth about what is really happening in our country, please do me a massive favor and smash that like button. It helps us push this message to more Nigerians who need to wake up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next update. We are in this together and we need to hold our leaders accountable. The president admitted something very scary in that meeting. He said the mood of the nation is peaceful, although our ungoverned spaces are so large. Ungoverned spaces. That is the technical term for places where the Nigerian government does not exist. It means that in vast stretches of our forests, our highways, and our rural communities, the bandit is king. The president acknowledges this. He says the challenge is real, but his solution seems to be a mix of spiritual warfare and endless bureaucratic delays. He told the CAN delegation that state and community policing, the one solution that every security expert has been screaming for, will only become operational once the National Assembly completes the necessary legislative processes. Let's analyze that. Legislative processes. We are in 2025. How many years have we been debating state police? How many people have to be kidnapped before the legislative process is expedited? When the government wants to pass a budget or approve a loan, the legislative process happens at the speed of light. They can pass bills in 24 hours when it suits them. But when it comes to creating a policing system that can actually protect the farmers in Kwara or the travelers in Zamfara, we are told to hold on, to keep praying while they push paper in Abuja. Meanwhile, the bandits in Adanla are not waiting for the National Assembly. They are operating right now. President Tinubu also gave an excuse that has many people worried. He explained that the delays in acquiring military hardware have influenced the public perception of the government's security drive. He noted that such equipment is expensive and not easily available. He disclosed that Nigeria had ordered 4 attack helicopters from the United States and was also engaging Turkey for further support. Okay, let's look at this closely. 4 helicopters. We are a nation of over 200 million people with a landmass that is massive and ungoverned. Are 4 helicopters the game changer? And why are we just hearing about engaging Turkey in late 2025? We have been fighting this war for a decade. The excuse of equipment being expensive is a hard pill to swallow for the average Nigerian who sees the cost of governance, who sees the convoys, who sees the renovations. We have money for luxury, but when it comes to the tools of war needed to save lives, suddenly things are expensive and scarce. The president insists that his government remains resolute despite the guerrilla tactics employed by bandits and insurgents. He mentioned the recent abduction and release of school children in Niger and Kebbi State as proof that things are happening, urging continued vigilance. But vigilance against what? Can a civilian with a stick be vigilant against a bandit with a rocket-propelled grenade? The call for cooperation and vigilance often feels like shifting the burden of security from the state to the victim. They are effectively telling us, hold your own back because we are still waiting for our helicopters. The attack in Kwara State is particularly disturbing because Kwara was traditionally considered the gateway between the north and the south, a relatively peaceful buffer zone. But as we saw with the arrest of the bandit CD in Kayama that we discussed recently, and now this invasion in Ifelodun, the insecurity is bleeding down. It is spreading like a cancer. The bandits are moving from the ungoverned spaces of the northwest into the north central. They are getting comfortable, and the response from the top seems to be disconnected from this urgency. When you tell a community that just lost 7 people to kidnappers that we are prayer warriors, it can sound tone deaf. It can sound like you have run out of ideas. Critics are calling this incompetence masked as piety. They argue that God has already given us the resources, the intelligence, remember the TikTok bandit, and the manpower to secure this nation. What is lacking is the political will to deploy them effectively. We don't need prayer warriors in the situation room. We need war commanders. We need a commander-in-chief who talks less about the mood of the nation being peaceful, which is arguably false for the people in Adanla, and talks more about the timeline to exterminate these threats. It is also interesting that he mentioned the United States and Turkey. We know that the US has been involved in airstrikes recently, as we have been covering on this channel. But reliance on foreign hardware comes with strings attached and delays, as the president admitted. This is why the failure to fully operationalize our own local manufacturing or rapid response squads is glaring. We are waiting for America to send 4 helicopters while our villages burn. It's a waiting game that is costing blood. So, where does this leave us as we head into the new year? It leaves us in a precarious position. On one hand, we have a government that promises that results strong enough to restore public confidence are coming soon. They are asking for patience. They are asking for prayers. On the other hand, we have the bandits who are not waiting. They are seizing the ungoverned spaces and turning them into their own caliphates. The abduction in Kwara State is a stark reminder that the security architecture is not just recalibrating, it is leaking. I want to ask you, the viewer, do you feel safer today than you did a year ago? Do you believe that prayers and legislative processes are enough to drive these bandits out of Nigeria? Or do you think this is a sign that the administration is overwhelmed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to read what you think about this prayer warrior strategy. And please, this is a developing story. The situation in Kwara is still tense, and the families of the 7 abducted victims are currently in hell waiting for a phone call for ransom. We need to keep the pressure on. We need to keep talking about this. If you found this update useful, please smash that like button. It helps the algorithm show this video to more Nigerians who need to wake up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next update. We are in this together and we need to hold our leaders accountable. Stay safe, stay vigilant because apparently that is our only defense right now, and keep watching.